So, in an effort to avoid and reduce queues outside the Post Office and Social Security Agency offices, Sassa says from today members of the public can have their special COVID-19 Special Relief of Distress grant paid directly into their bank accounts. Let's get an update on how the process is going and speak to Sassa spokesperson Paseka Letsatsi, who's joining us from Johannesburg. Mr. Letsatsi, thank you again for being on Newsfeed PM this Friday. Let's begin with the uptake. Have many people used this opportunity to receive the grant directly in their bank accounts?
Good afternoon, Tembeki, and thanks for having us. Yes, indeed, we can say that majority of people, they have used their bank accounts as they were making an application. And we are delighted, Tembeki, to say of today we have made about 4.5 million payments so far into the bank accounts of individuals, which demonstrates that people at least listen to our request when we said they need to make sure that they give us their banking details, which are correct in any way.
In terms of logistics, you had gone in the first round of payments the route of people lining up outside the Sassa offices and at post offices. Does this logistically help you as Sassa?
It does, because one, we don't want people coming to our offices to make an application. Hence the application, we are doing it online. But secondly, we are saying those who did not give us their banking details, they still have an opportunity to change their details from today until the 10th of September, because it makes life easy when you have your banking details. If you have to go to the post office, unfortunately, you can't go to the post office to go and ask for the money until you have an SMS given to you. So people have to wait for an SMS that is going to be given to them, as compared to your bank account, because you definitely get an SMS from the bank if you have money to your account.
Is it an easy switch to make, Paseka, from receiving from a Sassa pay point, I should say, to now getting the money in a bank account? Is it as simple as going onto my phone and keying in my details and it being changed?
Look, we have just made life very easy at Tembeki for the applicants in terms of changing their details. But secondly, we started opening the system on the 16th of August. And we have, as of on the 1st of September, we are approaching about 14 million applications. But this application does not mean it equals the number of people that are going to be paid. We are still going to make a verification to make sure that people do not double dip, because we know that there are those who might be appearing on NSFAS, there are those who might be appearing on the UIF and so on. However, we have just made the lives of the applicants very simple. If they want to change, they can change it using their cell phone, or they can go to the website just to change to say, I want to get my money into my bank account. And to make it, the reason why we do this is because we have observed long queues at the post office. And I think it would be irresponsible from Sassa and SAPO to allow those long queues to continue, because it will defeat the purpose of fighting against the spread of the COVID-19.
What about the concern that some people have that with any transaction that goes through a bank, some charge or charges are levied? Will banks make deductions from what is already such a tiny amount, really?
It's true, Tembeki, but obviously as an organization, we are not going to force anybody to go to the banks. It's a choice of an individual. If you want to choose to go to the post office, you can do that. However, we want to reiterate and make it very clear, known to our people, that if you don't give us your banking details because of the reasons that we have just advanced now, obviously, please do not go to the post office and inquire if your money has been deposited. You will definitely have to wait until the money is deposited and you get an SMS from the post office or Sassa to say, now that the money is available, you can come to the post office. But I'm saying, as an organization, we have to respect the choice of individuals. And if individuals choose to go to the post office or choose to go to Sassa, it is a decision which individuals will take. We are not going to dictate in terms of what method that people want to choose.
This grant, as things stand, has been extended until at the least March of next year. Would it be completely radical to suggest some kind of conversation between yourselves as the Social Security Agency and perhaps the banks in trying to limit things such as the levies on money that flows in and out of the accounts, especially given that 350 Rand is not a lot of money. Even if 20 Rand is taken, for example, it's still a significant amount.
Not true, Tembekile. There's a conversation taking place amongst us as an organization, SAPO, and basically SAPO, we know that it's also engaging the merchants, because the intention is to make sure that people don't necessarily go to SAPO to get money, but they can go to other merchants to get what is due to them. Hence, there's an engagement amongst us to say, what is the best method which you can implement to help our people, taking into the consideration what you have just raised, Tembekile.
4.5 million payments, you say, have been made via the bank account direct payments. You've received around 14 million applications. In total, how many people have now received the grant, and what is the figure paid out so far?
We have, you have the figure right, Tembekile. We have paid 4.5 million. In other instances, you might know that there are people who might have made an application on the 1st of August. Others might have applied last week. So the time is different, and we basically do verification processes. When you get an application, we check with Home Affairs, we check with other government agencies. The intention here at Tembekile is to make sure that the 350 goes to the correct person, and to make sure that we do not necessarily get people trying to cheat the system. Hence, we need to make sure that we do the verification process to make sure that the 350 goes to the right person. But secondly, we are saying, yes, we might have received the 14 million applications. However, it might stay there at 14 million, it might go down, because some of the people might have made an application and might not qualify. But we'll definitely engage with the media, yourselves in particular, to make sure that we share the figures on a weekly basis, so that the public is aware about basically what is happening.
To be clear, the 4.5 million payments that you referenced at the beginning of our conversation, this is money that's been paid out through banks and at the post office and Sassa offices?
This 4.5 million is people, individuals, who have been paid through the post office as of the 1st of September.
Oh, because earlier I was trying to figure out how many people have actually received payments through the banks.
Yes, not true at Tembekile. It's 4.5 million individuals, applicants that we have processed, and the money has been processed into their banking accounts.
Okay, so just to clarify, for people who are applying now, let's say I apply today, it's what, the 3rd of September. Am I only going to receive payment at the beginning of October?
Not necessarily, Tembekile. Remember, we're doing the verification process on a daily basis. It can take a week or 2 weeks for that process to be finalized. And once the process is finalized, we'll make sure that the money gets distributed to individuals. But it can't be a period which is more than a month. The intention is to make sure that we try to limit the process of verification as much as possible, so that people do not stay for 2 to 3 months before they get what is due to them. But what we can confirm is that the process does not take more than a month. If you apply from the 3rd of September, for an example, we are 100% sure that the 3rd of October cannot go without you having been processed and having got the message from us that your money is in your account, or you can go and get it somewhere.
Paseka Letsatsi, always good to speak to you. Sassa spokesperson, giving an update on the payouts of the special social relief of distress grant, that 350 Rand grant meant to assist South Africans who have no other form of income during this lockdown.